Hey everyone, Codex here. I hope you're doing fantastic. So in the last 24 hours, we've seen a brutal move down for Elrond and for the entire cryptocurrency asset in general, which seemingly is causing a lot of panic among traders and investors. And so today, we'll talk about that and we'll go in depth about what you should expect in the next few months. So if you guys like the content, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to check out our Telegram channel. So the last 6 weeks have been pretty brutal for Egld, and if we measure this move from top to bottom, we can see that Elrond has lost about 43% of its value. And what you have to understand is that throughout Elrond's history, this has only happened once. Elrond has never had more than 5 weekly red candles in a row, other than in here back in 2020 when we crashed down about 84%. And this is, in my opinion, a normal move down considering what's happening. You might be confused about how I'm saying that this move down is normal, and if you ask me personally, I'm not shocked at all, because when everybody was mooning, and when the Moon Boys were celebrating these upside moves, we were telling you that this downtrend will continue simply because of the nature of the market. Since November, when inflation hit 6.8%, if I'm not mistaken, I think it hit 6.8%, I've been screaming that this uptrend is coming to its end. And back then, nobody really cared. But it seems like now, people are slowly realizing that we are in a very tough spot and that things are heading south. Having these interest rate hikes by every meeting basically and experiencing supply chain issues is a clear indicator that things aren't good. And as inflation keeps increasing, you can't really expect us to go up high. We've tried many times in here to clarify these things for you and to make understanding the trend much easier, and despite that, it seems like everybody is still suffering. I honestly think that before even investing at first, you need to have some knowledge about how basic economic works, and you can't really jump in blindly when inflation just hit 6% back in October when Bitcoin hit its all-time high and then complain about it. And as the DXY, which is the US dollar index, is going up high, as the US dollar index is trending up, and as investors believe that the Feds will somehow save the US dollar, the cryptocurrency asset and the stock market too will just keep getting hammered. Remember that the Feds don't care about your crypto and your stocks. Their job now is to decrease inflation. That's basically their main concern now. The rest doesn't really matter, and Powell isn't really your friend. Now, if we take a look at Egld, we can see that we are still holding support in our accumulation zone, which I talked about a few days ago. And this accumulation zone has a decent amount of interest from buyers, and that's basically why we are holding up here. But if we ever start closing below it, then we will experience a brutal move down to the next high volume node. And that's what happened back in here, or also in here. And in here, it actually happened twice in a short period of time. And a brutal move down will simply happen because not a lot of investors are willing to buy EGLD in this area. And again, I'm not saying we will drop. I'm just saying that if we don't hold this level, which is currently our accumulation zone between 125 and 140 US dollars, then we'll be looking at this level. And I've said something similar in here before crashing down. You'll find a lot of traders drawing a lot of lines at every 2 or 3%, they'll draw a new support line every time the price drops down, but that's not how things work. Honestly, this is my opinion, that's not how things work, unless you day trade, of course. If you look at the VPVR indicator, which is the indicator that displays the traded volume in a certain period of time, you can have a clear understanding of where supports are. And usually what happens is that when we drop down, we go from a spike, which is called a high volume node like this one, to the next spike, which is also the next high volume node. And that's what happened in here. We went from this high volume node to the next one, and this happened 3 times basically this year already. And the same thing in here, we went from this area, which is our high volume node, to the next one when dropping down. And the same thing will happen in here if we drop, of course, because you see this empty space, which is called low volume node. This simply means in this space, there is no retail interest whatsoever. And even your grandma isn't interested in getting Elrond in here. If we take a brief look at the Phoenix Ascending indicator, which is a momentum indicator, we can see that on the daily time frame, the blue LSMA and red RSI are still below the level of 50. And we've discussed this indicator multiple times in this channel. I think that this is one of the best, if not the best, free indicator you could use. So basically, whenever our 2 lines are below the level of 50, things are bearish. And what we would require to see a strong uptrend is our lines going up above this medial line. So if our lines don't go above this medial line, things will remain bearish. This is not to say that we can't have some green daily candles. We've just had this one yesterday, but this simply means that the odds of seeing bull traps like the one we had are still high. And the day these two lines trend up high above the mid yellow line like they did in here or also in here, we could start talking about an uptrend once again. I've said that we should be looking at some sideways movement in here in the last video, and I still think that the odds of seeing some sideways movement is pretty high, but you have to just keep in mind that on the long term, things are still bad. We have the next CPI release, which means the inflation numbers basically for the previous month by the 11th, so basically next week. And if the numbers are up high and heading towards 10%, then you should expect the Feds to take stricter measures, and they will most certainly go to 75 basis points next, which will just lead to more pain in the second half of this quarter. So that was about it for Elrond today. Thanks for sticking by till the end. Also, if you are interested in getting a hardware wallet that supports any coin that comes to your mind, make sure to check out Decent. I know that the Egld boys mainly use the Maya Dex and the Maya app, but if you ever want to store your other currencies safely, check them out, as they are currently offering a $50 discount on their biometric wallet. They also have some giveaways from time to time, which you can join by checking their Twitter. And so have a nice day and see you in the next video.